Quick note before we begin, my voice sounds a little bit weird because I was sick and hasn't quite recovered yet, but we're gonna try our best to get through it. Alright, here we go.
Huh. Well, the Boneworks. Wait a second.
Boneworks. The physics combat game that makes you think you'll be a creative Jason Bourne-like, kill them with the sharp end of a broken bottle badass, but in reality it's more like...
Oh my god! No.
The game starts you off with a cutscene, which works surprisingly well in VR, but, I mean, let's face it, we're not here for the story. You're then greeted with 2 bins, a coffee cup, and Mr. Tutorial Man in your ear simply telling you to pick it up every 2 seconds. It was at this moment when I started...
Gently throw the object.
It was at this moment when...
Throw the object into the bin in front of you.
It was at
Throw the object...
Oh, will you shut up? It was at this moment when I started noticing that this game had the idea of the Valve Index controllers in mind. Well, I'm glad they were able to release this game on all platforms, except for the Quest, but I mean, they have their own little thing coming out with Boneworks, really. It's really confusing when the only instructions you're given is, hey, grab this thing. I personally played this game on my Vive with the 1 controllers, and in the past, grabbing things usually meant using the trigger, so you can imagine my confusion when nothing happened when I thought I was doing it right. It wasn't until someone in chat called me a big old forehead and told me to use both grip and trigger for it to work.
The object gently.
Once I had an understanding of this game, everything felt pretty natural. Well, almost.
Oh, hey, little guy. Oh, guys, I should say. Hey, you're a cute little thing. Hey, come here. Hey, come here. You're to run away from me. Yeah, you stay there. You stay put. Can I pick you up? I can pick you up. Hey there. Aren't you a oh, God. Are you okay?
The way the game demonstrates weight is by simply having your hand be more delayed to your real-time position. This is so that way you're not Mr. Incredible and can easily pick up something that's supposed to be heavy, therefore providing more realism. Not gonna lie, trying to figure it out myself was a bit awkward considering I was used to everything being as easy to pick up like it was a feather. One piece of advice in the humorous tutorial section through a museum was to move heavy objects slowly. If you physically imagine you're holding the object, you'll have an easier time moving it. And so with that info in my mind, I saw less of where the fuck are my hands moments and more moments where you contribute to a bit of roleplay with yeet! Now, while the main appeal to Boneworks was its combat mechanics, the other side of it is, dare I say it, puzzles. Don't get me wrong, I'm down for a simple puzzle where you feel really smart at the end, but I tend to have a hard time with puzzles due to my not-so-big brain. But that's where the beauty of this game comes in. It's a solve-it-on-your-own-way kind of game. The developers give you the Breath of the Wild approach. Here's the things you can do in this game, use what we gave you to figure it out. For example, there's a part of the game that deals with an elevator and buttons, and for the life of me, I cannot figure out how to make the buttons do the things I wanted them to do.
Alright, and then we could just... No? Oh, here we go, this button. Why won't the elevator go up?
So after several long minutes of frustration, I finally came to the conclusion of, you know what? Fuck it. I'm climbing pipes. And while technically it wasn't the correct way to do it, it lets you solve the puzzles in your own way.
There we go. Oh, now you come up.
The enemies of the game can seem pretty similar. You got your see-through meat boy, the scary zombie boy, scary yellow zombie boy, scary zombie boy that shoots lasers, and head crabs but with a VR headset. Yes, most of them are human-like, but they differentiate in how they look and how hard they hit, especially with lasers! But nothing, and I mean nothing, could prepare me for the true enemy of the game. Ledges. Out of all the mechanics for the game, getting up on a ledge seemed to be the hardest one for me. Every time I would try, my hands were suddenly butter and I couldn't seem to get a grip and hoist myself up. Luckily, Chat and I discovered the best way to do that, so you don't have to deal with the struggle that is ledges. I call it the squat and crawl. So here's what you do. You place your hands on your desired ledge. You don't have to grip it or anything, you just gotta place it there. Then bring your hands to your feet slowly. Then do a crawling motion with your hands on the floor so you get a good distance. By good distance, I mean from the ledge initially. Then push and hold the jump button and slowly walk forward. It's awkward, yes, but eventually you'll get it. Some of my other attempts before resulting in the squat and crawl are as follows. The hoist.
Come on. Come on.
The desperate cry for help.
Come on, just let me.
The grip and pull.
I just grab. And yes, okay. No.
The long live the king.
Long live the king.
And the fuck it.
I'll take the stairs.
When I say everything in this game can be used as a weapon, I mean literally everything. For a while, I was a trash man using trash cans and just eating them and everything. This goes back to my point on how the game gives you the tools you need to get through the game, and it's up to you how to do it. There are several objects you can use and ways you can defeat enemies, some being, but not limited to,
beat him with a brick, stab him with a broken bottle, practice drunken boxing, become Captain America, become the God of War, get rid of the high ground, sledgehammer baseball, knock him over into hazardous material, give a little love tap, run into this for me, push into a wall, let gravity do the dirty work, be a slow-mo shooting badass, become a regular badass, shoot with a rifle, let them shoot each other, batting practice, use a gun improperly, head, butt, for days, play catch a knife, make them kiss, and plenty more.
the campaign of the game is a really good lengthy one. Granted, I can be slow when it comes to playing games, because I like to goof off with every little thing, especially when you're able to touch everything. It took me an estimated 11 hours to finish, but I've heard people finishing it in about 8. This honestly gets me really excited for how the future of VR game development will be. The game, along with a few others that I can't quite think of the top of my head right now, are full-length VR games. Something that has a story, that is if you pay attention to it, and can sink a good amount of time into. Even after the story is done, there are currently 2 game modes you can play. Sandbox, which you unlock fairly early in the game, and Arena, which takes the mechanics of gore and blade and sorcery but in its own way. And from the looks of things, they might be adding more content to it, so there's loads to unpack here. Like I said before, playing through this game got me really excited for the future of VR games.
Damn it.
And now that Big Daddy Gaben is getting involved in the VR scene, other big players might start turning their heads. VR has been around for a few years now, and it's now in its stages that I would call tweenage years, where people have gotten a decent idea of what it is, and now they're trying to figure out how creative they can be with it. Later down the road, when the next big games come out and VR has become one of the regular gaming items, we can look back on Boneworks and see where it all started.